Paul Ennis was concerned with the prospect of losing his hair when it began thinning in his 30s.
Well, to stop the process, Paul opted to take medication suggested by his GP. However, he wasn't prepared for the extreme side effects. They left him practically impotent, shrunk his penis and left him depressed and suicidal.
Well, Paul's here today with his former girlfriend, Hayley, to tell the story. And welcome to both of you. Paul, thank you for being here today. I said that, so it was in your early 30s that you first noticed your hair beginning to thin. What was the effect of that on you?
Well, it just made me feel quite insecure, and I became quite paranoid about my appearance. So I decided at that point I would go seek some help, and I went to see my family GP and express my concerns about my hair loss.
And originally he ruled out, they did blood tests to check that it wasn't a thyroid problem, and it was then that you were recommended this drug that we're talking about, this Propecia. This is an EU-approved drug.
Yeah.
What did they mention about the side effects to you?
In 2010, when I spoke to my GP, all he mentioned to me was that there was a 2% chance amongst users of sexual dysfunction by taking the medication, which at that time he stated that if I continued taking that course of medication or stopped taking it, the sexual dysfunction would go away.
Right.
Well, according to the website, the pill blocks the formation of a key factor of certain types of male pattern hair loss, MPHL. The first pill that effectively treats MPHL on the vertex, which is the top of the head and anterior mid-scalp area. Now, the fact that you were told, I mean, it was pointed out by the GP that 2% of men complained about sexual side effects. If it had been higher, if it had been 5%, if it had been 7%, because of how you felt about your hair loss, do you think you'd have taken any notice?
No, I probably would have still taken the risk if, as I was told, the dysfunction was going to go away once I'd stopped taking the medication or continued the course of the medication. I would have still taken that risk, I think.
Well, you took the pills for 3 months in 2010, 3 weeks in 2013, about £90 for the treatment. And you said within about 6 weeks you started getting strange thoughts. What were they? What sort of strange thoughts?
Back in 2010, when I started the course of medication, I started to feel quite withdrawn from my usual social activities, such as playing football, watching my local team play, going out with friends. I tended to spend more time indoors, and I just felt low in mood generally.
And completely unlike yourself.
Yeah, completely.
The previous relationship that you were in at a time came to an end. You'd come off the drugs by this point, and you were wondering whether the paranoia started to come in again. You were thinking, did that relationship break down because of my hair loss? All of those insecurities that you had before came back.
Came back again, yeah. That was, like I say, I think it was early part of 2013 where I started to pay attention to my hair loss again, and that's when I decided to go back on the Propecia medication again.
Well, then you meet lovely Hayley.
Yeah.
And it was a sort of a throwaway, can we all say stuff? You have no idea how it's going to impact on someone. You just, like a throwaway comment, which she made, which did have an impact on you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like you say, it's no proportion, no blame towards Hayley, but I think I remember speaking to Hayley before I actually bought Propecia the second time, and said, you know, I'm concerned about my hair loss. I don't know whether to shave my hair off. And Hayley said, you know,
you didn't mention your hair loss, did you? At first, you were just like, I'm not shaving your hair off, and I said, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
I think that's
because you weren't sure about how a guy would look with a shaved head.
Yeah. I just didn't understand why he would want to do that when he had a good head of hair.
Yeah. No, exactly. But of course, when you've got these insecurities, hearing something like that, it's, you know, alarm bells go off in your head. So you start taking the pills again, and the side effects this time seemed much greater, much stronger this time.
There was horrific. I mean, the second time around, I think it must have picked up from where it left off last time, and I'd not noticed any changes sexually the first time around from taking the drug in 2010, but this time it started with the onset of insomnia, where I didn't sleep for about a week. I had to go to my family GP to get medication to treat my insomnia. When I was trying to be intimate with Hayley, I was practically impotent, and I remember more or less waking up one morning and more or less not being able to. I had no connection between my brain and my genitals. It was just unbelievable.
So complete erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so even the spontaneous morning ones and nighttime ones, all of that have gone.
Yeah.
And this has a huge impact on you emotionally. I mean, how did you feel at this time?
I was just in a whirlwind of mixed emotions. I didn't know what was going on with me. At that point, I decided to inform my family that I'd been taking this medication.
Yeah.
They took me to seek help through my family GP, and despite coming off the medication, having only taken it for 3 weeks, I started to get really, really low mood, very depressed, and then the crisis team was called to my home address to come and see me. They decided it was a good idea to go into a psychiatric unit voluntarily, which I felt I needed because I couldn't keep myself safe, I couldn't function, I couldn't do basic tasks of, like, you know, looking after myself, cooking meals for myself when I've been independent all my life, and I just didn't know why I was feeling
well, you're
so
distancing
abnormal.
yourself from everyone around you,
from
distancing
everybody.
yourself from your children, distancing yourself from you.
Yeah.
You think he might, you know, thoughts of having an affair, you know, what's
At the
happened,
beginning,
what's
yeah.
going on here, and you are racked with suicidal thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just progressively got worse, even when I was in the psychiatric unit, where I spent nearly 3 or 4 months in there. I went in and I spent, I think, 2 months voluntary in the psychiatric unit, but I remember waking up in the morning with complete intrusive thoughts and images of myself hanging from corners of the bedroom that I was staying in the psychiatric unit. I was just compounded with suicidal thoughts from nowhere.
You even booked a taxi to go to the train station, didn't you, with thoughts that
That's
you were
right.
going to jump in front of a train?
Yeah, one day I was on accompanied leave with a member of staff from the psychiatric unit, and I just decided I didn't want to go back into the unit, and I absconded from the member of staff and got a taxi to a local train station near to the psychiatric unit, where I was picked up maybe 800 yards away from the train station before I was going to kill myself by